So originally I planned this video to be a speed drawing with me talking in the background, but I really don't want to make a speed paint right now because I simply just don't like recording myself while I'm drawing. So I'm just going to make this a showing my art video, but if I'm making this a showing my art video, I need an intro and I have no idea for an intro. Boombob4D, can you help me out on this?
Are you serious right now?
Yes, please, just say something funny.
Liar, that's a fire! Oh my god!
Hello my little dronies, welcome back to another showing my arts video. I have like 3 different video projects that are just showing my arts videos, but hey, let's start with the first one. New lore about my little Pookie Bear. Why am I writing my scripts like that? Anyways, I haven't heard anyone complaining last time, so I'm guessing I can put Helldivers gameplay in the background again, because like attention span and stuff like that, and if I just show one picture for half an eternity, most of you are going to get bored. But for those that aren't or just interested in the lore, you can do something else and let this play like a podcast in the background. I don't care. But this is Mary, a new character I have curated, which has quite a bit of lore, but for that lore to make sense, I first need to go into world building. So I kinda came up with the idea that in my universe of Murderdones, there's like different colonies with different bunkers or different ways they build their civilizations. All across Copper 9, all are different sizes. Some are friendly, others are not so friendly, and everything in between. Then there are disassembly drones who claim different amount of territory. Some fight over it, some have territory together. Some even don't care to claim territory at all. But basically in their territory, they can hunt whoever they want, and they see themselves as the owners of this land and everyone on it. So even if there's a colony on it, they see themselves as the owners there because they have the hunting privileges. Of course, other disassembly drones can fight for that, and in between those colonies and disassembly drone territories, they are just random wanderers who just don't belong to any colony and are just living between colonies or just like in abandoned places, either alone or like on the move in small groups, stuff like that. But now Mary stems from one of the biggest colonies that was ever built, and there lived about 90,000 worker drones. And maybe this number is a little bit too big, maybe it's enough, but just that you know, there were really a lot of drones there, and it was one of the biggest colonies, and it actually managed to hold off quite well when the disassembly drones first attacked. They had like giant walls around their city, which was basically a bunch of skyscrapers, and the walls were protected enough so that they didn't suffer many casualties, and they also were like really advanced in technology, so they at least could fend off disassembly drones if they were attacked back when Copper 9 first was raided. But after the disassembly drones attacked all over the planet, things changed a little bit, and the problem was their resources are getting shorter because they couldn't trade with other colonies anymore because they were busy saving themselves. So it decided to use the technology to raid other colonies and oppress them and take away their resources to sustain their massive colony there. And of course, how it would be with humans, some warred against each other, some just gave up, and others fled the scene. But this city just searched on for new colonies to raid and eventually stumbled across the colony where Lewis lives. And they did their basic stuff of first approaching with a bunch of soldiers and saying like, you have a week to surrender yourself and give us all your resources, or we will be coming back with an army. Oh, and by the way, Lewis's colony has about 100 or up to 200 workers, so really not much to compare. But of course, all of them kinda panicked and didn't know what to do. So over the next 2 days, they held a bunch of meetings discussing whatever, and coincidentally on the 3rd day, they were discussing still. And at that day, coincidentally, there was Lewis's girlfriend over for a visit. This takes place at the time where the people kinda accept R-4 and kinda still hate her a lot, but can't do anything about it and just let her in all the time. And basically R-4 wanted to take Luz with her to her place, but Luz couldn't go and had to wait on her dad first, who was at the conference at the moment, and they decided like to go in the conference room and just wait until they're finished to ask Luz's dad if she can go. And at that point R-4 overheard this situation, and the leaders were kind of discussing that it's impossible to fight back and they should probably just hide away. But the problem is, if they hide away, it's just a question of time until they're going to be fined again, and then they will instantly raid them and stuff like that. So they were really concerned and didn't know what to do. And while that, R-4 was standing in the background holding a transfusion bag with a straw in it like a Capri Sun, and the transfusion was filled with oil because again the workers agreed to give R-4 oil. for protection. And R-4 basically said to the group, okay, I know Luz is often forgot, but I hope you do remember who she is dating, while she's pointing to herself. Just as some context, Luz is often forgotten because she's very introverted and doesn't interact with the other workers more, like often just in class or often talks only with R-4. But like the council was kind of concerned of like, are we really going to morally send a disassembly drone over to eradicate all those drones? But they saw no other option, so they had decided on a deal and contacted the big colony and sent basically a message of, hey you guys, we don't want to be mean, we are just saying like, how about you leave us alone, and then we are not going to go against war against you because it won't end well for you and stuff like that. So like threatening in the nicest way possible. And of course the big colony was like, nah, completely not taking them seriously and was mocking them. So on the next evening when the sun went down and the moon started rising, R-4 was basically hovering in front of the moon, the moonlight shining behind her, together with a few other disassembly drones. The only one that was willingly there was BB3. The other ones R-4 just forced by threatening them their lives. And basically what happened, those 5 disassembly drones raided one of the sides of the walls and basically managed to break through with minimal losses, because most of the disassemblers back in the day could probably have tried to wipe out the colony, but just said it wasn't worth it, or like, it is like waving a torch to an animal. It could probably attack you, but think it's not worth the risk. But now at this point, R-4 and the 5 others decided it is worth it and sprint on full in there and managed to get through the defenses and into the city. And while the others mainly held off the defenses and the army guys, R-4 whipped out her side and went full on Undertale genocide run, and with extreme speed started wiping out workers left and right. The side was flying around and damaging buildings, so they started collapsing overall. And when the other disassembly drones came through, they basically started off picking workers one by one and also started to destroy buildings until everything collapsed and basically the entire colony was very quickly destroyed. But honestly, the main MVP is R-4, because R-4 is like a drone that is not very good in 1v1 combat, but is rather built for mass destruction. Like the side that she uses can easily damage buildings, and with her speed she was actually able to tip a bunch of the skyscrapers over, so they flew over like domino stones. And basically they reduced the colony from the 9,000 at the beginning, from the 19,000 in the beginning, to just a few hundred left that were under the rubble or hid in the sewers or something. And basically the remains of this colony were like, holy damn, we regret absolutely everything. And basically they decided on revenge, so they picked out one worker drone. This was Mary. And basically with all the remaining tech that was laying around there and all the advances tech, all in a giant effort shoved it into Mary herself, so she can go out in a revenge plot against R-4 mainly. And those upgrades were really insane. Like she has those arm blades, she has like a tiny holodisc that she can store in her arm, which basically produce illusions like in episode 2, and she has a plasma gun on her back and also one inside of her leg, like if you know Robocop, kind of like that. Her blood is nanite proofed, and also she got like in the back of her spine she got a second heart from one of the disassembly drones that actually fall during the attack on the wall. Basically a dead and broken disassembly drone heart, which the only function it still has was to regenerate, and that purpose was used so Mary can regenerate if necessary, which it will be a lot of the times. And basically Mary is, for this last group of survivors, kind of a chosen one to take down their enemies. So she wandered off on herself while the rest tried to rebuild or like at least survive in the destroyed rubbles. And now where the funny twist comes in, while Mary is going over there to try to kill R-4, Shinxi is super powerful and everything takes super seriously. But when she actually arrives over there, like in her territory and stuff like that, all the people there, workers, disassembly drones and stuff like that, seriously don't take her seriously at all. Like she tries to be edgy and stuff like that and so serious, but no one takes her serious no matter how much she tries, even if she threatens people. And she has pulled off multiple assassin attempts on R-4, but of course none were very successful. Like either R-4 was letting her get hurt or wasn't being serious, but the second R-4 actually got annoyed or something and wanted her off her back, she instantly got dumped into the snow and regenerated after a few hours to try another attempt. Because the thing is, the concept of Mary is pretty much the exact same concept of R-4, because it shows how scuffed the murder drone's power scaling is, as R-4 is a disassembly drone, as there are like 3 types of classes basically in murder drones. You have worker drones, disassembly drones, and dissolver drones. And R-4 is a disassembly drone that tries to power up so much that it actually can face a solver drone, but R-4 is completely outclassed by any really actually good solver drone like Uzi, Sin. People who just use the solver casually she can beat, and actually did, but she could never beat an average solver user. And the exact same concept counts for Mary. She is a lot stronger than the average worker drone and can beat pretty much every worker drone she wanted, and even some low level disassembly drones. But again, because she's trying to power up to R-4's level, which she's just way far off still, even though she's as powerful as she is, she's never on her level. And the same counts for R-4, which would try to level up to a solver level like Sin. The only difference is why they level up. R-4 is it because she's afraid that she one day has to actually fight against Sin, and because she's so afraid, she's doing it out of sheer fear, while Mary is doing it out of revenge plot. But yeah, this is so far where I took the story basically, because the people at her destroyed home still think Mary is fighting out there for them, while Mary is kinda like lost around. Like, she does plan her assassinations, but isn't really like 24/7 working on those. Sometimes he's just walking around and talking to other people, because you can't be an assassin 24/7. That would just mentally destroy you. And she really doesn't blame the colony. Like, obviously she couldn't have showed her face in the colony, because either Luz or like one of the others would have sawn her and maybe would have let something slip to R-4. Because honestly, R-4 also very much knows that she's around, but lets her do her stuff as long as she doesn't go near her colony or her home. I'm putting her colony in quotation marks, but you get what I mean. But yeah, overall, I would also say an interesting difference between the two is that Mary thinks of her body with all the upgrades and stuff, thinks she's a masterpiece, and all of the body is just so amazing, while R-4 absolutely hates her body and thinks she's a monster, which I mean technically. But yeah, that's pretty much everything about her. Like, she doesn't have an end of her story yet, because like, I like to keep the story of R-4 and stuff very open. And in general, my character story, I like to keep the ends open so I can add new lore whenever I want to. Of course, if I abandon characters, they kind of feel unfinished. But yeah, something I could have mentioned, that she had also a run-in with BB3 based on this completely canon drawing. And because I had a discussion with Boomer3D about it, BB3 is a very tanky drone, not as fast as R-4, but man, he can take a hit and also take one out. So I'm assuming this confrontation was something like she got a few good hits off, but BB3 just regenerated way too fast and punched her into a oily puddle on the floor before she regrow herself. Of course, BB3 didn't know that and pretty much went on with his life without even caring much, and it was just a regular worker drone for him. Unless Boomer3D says something else, which in that case, please don't light me on fire again. Ah! But anyways, this was the entire video. I hope you liked this lore. I kinda want to do now more of my own stuff with talking about my lore and stuff. I am going to make like reviews and shows and stuff like that. Like, I really would like to talk about but I don't know, I'm a bit iffy about with background footage and stuff like that, how much I can use and when I get a copyright strike, and or even worse. But comment some stuff you would be interested in. Of course, whenever Gaslight District comes out, I'm very iffy about that one as well. I would make a review on it eventually, but as long as it's not out, I'm very 50-50 on it. But I'm going off topic again, this video is probably way too long. Oh my god, I just realized I need to edit. Anyways, and remember,